Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. What are we doing today? Today we are looking at the Caran Museum Aquarelle. Now, last week I told you that introduce this. I literally did do the introduction to show you what's coming up in August. And one of the things I did not highlight, I kind of just brazed over it a bit, was that August is actually my birthday month. Yes, I am an August born baby, and so I'm considering this not only a Christmas present like I told you that I got from my husband, but also I'm considering it as a little birthday present because it's a twofer today. And we're looking at this now. The thing that I'm about to tell you is according to the Caran website. Now, Caran said that these museum aquarelles are not only watercolor pencils, but are watercolor paints in pencil form, developed with a close collaboration with watercolor artists. Extra fine quality, perfect for watercolor paint and artistic drawing. This landscape set that I have, now I said that it comes in a variety of sets. You have landscape, marine, at least the 20 set version has landscape and marine, and then you have the 12 assorted set, the 40 assorted set, and the big count, which is 76, which all the colors are in. This landscape set has warm and cool tones depicting a variety of landscapes. That's what Caran said, but like I said last week, one of the things that I did, because the landscape set is an amazing set, really it is, but it kind of lacks some of the colors that I typically use a lot. So there's about six, let's say I put 4 in here, and there's probably about 4 more colors that I would like to add to this collection. I would like to add to it a bit more browns, because browns is a color I used a lot. I'd also like to add to it, and we have discussed this last week also, where I've already did my swatch card, so we'll be swatching this today. So the colors I would like to add, and I want to show you what I have here, is probably a bit more browns, maybe 1 or 2 more brown tones, because browns is something I do use a lot. And I'm thinking maybe we could add 1 more blue tone and maybe 1 more red tone. But let's first swatch them out, because as you can see, I have not swatched these out as yet, so I don't know if those are actually colors I want, or maybe I do have in my eyes a set that I'm satisfied with. Okay, so I didn't really talk about the product and how it comes. That's because I alter it. Beautiful box. My box got dented in shipping. It says how much. Come on, let the people know how much you originally came with. Yes. Okay. And it also has a color representation of all the colors that should be in the box. It also comes with a little vellum overleaf that says, with a view of improving and harmonizing its range, Caran is gradually changing the design of its pencil. And it's like in 12 different languages, 3, 6, 10 different languages. Here's the brochure, 76 being its maximum color count. And in the brochure, it tells us first exactly what I've just told you, that it is not only a watercolor, but it's also water soluble in pencil form, water soluble paints. Here it is in English, and again it's in like 6 different languages, the different formations it's presented in, and to the back in again 6 different languages. It talks a little bit more about the Aquarelle products. Here again in about 6 different languages, environment and quality. I guess it talks about Caran sustainability, trying to keep the environment safe, only using sustainable resource trees and stuff like that. Now for this, I'm using this. It is a Caran number 8 brush. I got this in the Caran Wash Studio pan set that I have, and I'm using watercolor. I'm hoping it's watercolor paper. I think I got this sheet of paper in a subscription box, and honestly guys, I don't remember exactly which subscription box it came in, and I don't remember the description to this paper. So I'm hoping it feels like watercolor paper, like a 90 GSM watercolor paper. So I'm hoping it's watercolor paper. I've had it all pre-swatched out. I have my line for opacity. So now that you know what I'm doing today, we're going to be in part 1 of this video as usual. Now I'll be doing the swatching, and then I'll take it away, and then I'll do some work with it, and then in part 2 I'll bring a video demonstration with you. So this part 1 video will take about a couple weeks. This video actually will take a couple weeks to do because I do have to work with it, and some of those works you will see on camera. So maybe me saying last week could be last week in this present time, but this probably video won't be seen until the end of the month. Okay, just giving you guys a head up. Okay, what was my first impression with this? Guys, I liked how they applied, at least during this portion of the swatching where I was just laying down the pencil color. I wasn't pulling out any or using the watercolor effects. Sorry for the road, it's kind of a busy day today. During this part, it was okay, it was enjoyable. I did not have any problems laying down the pencils. While I was doing this, some things keep in mind, like I said, I wanted to get a couple more colors just to kind of, you know, complete the set in my head, make the set make sense. And some of the colors I'm thinking I want to add is maybe a brighter red, because the scarlet red is not as bright as I want it to be. I might want to add a more truer violet or purple color, and I do want to add 2 more cooler grays, you know, maybe a dark cooler gray and a light cooler gray. Those were the 4 colors I was really looking at when I did this set. And one of the colors I thought I wanted was maybe a truer blue, because the ultramarine blue that comes with this set was a bit too dark for my liking. I probably want something a bit more like a true blue kind of color, not too dark or not too light, just something kind of bright. Sorry. And I actually love that sanguine kind of color. I didn't think I would have liked it, but it's actually a beautiful reddish brown color. And here it caught me off guard when I did the sepia 10%. I was not expecting it to look like a warm gray, but it did. This is French gray I'm putting down, and now I did the sepia 10%, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a warm gray to me. So I didn't add it with the browns, because sepia is usually a dark brown color, but this sepia 10% looked like a warm brown to me. And the white, well, as you can see, is not as opaque. Now I'm going in there with color, and I'm pulling out color and to do the watercolor effect. And it was this stage I said, you know what, let me do some labeling. Let me label these things, so because I'll have to label them anyway. And I went off camera and I did that, and I'm pulling out color. For the first row, it was perfect. It was amazing. It was exactly what I expected from this product. But when I reached this periwinkle, I think you can see it. It is not. It didn't pull out as much color. Even the light cobalt, yes, light genuine cobalt was also. It didn't pull out as much color as it did, and I was kind of caught off guard by that, because I kind of superimposed the pencil lead on this paper. Like I said, it's a watercolor paper. It's about 90 GSM, and I was expecting, even though yes, I superimposed it, I was expecting ghosting, but I wasn't expecting not to pull out color from some of these pencils. And the periwinkle and the light cobalt, light genuine cobalt was 2 of the colors that didn't pull out enough color for me. I was okay with what the buttercup did, because buttercup is kind of like a light color anyway, so I was okay with that. One of the things that I noticed was with the, not with these pencils, but with the ink of the marker that I use, it started to bleed a bit when I put the water on it. It started to produce a yellowing effect, and you can see that primarily in the white, and it wasn't there before. So that caught me kind of like off guard also, because I wasn't expecting the marker that I used. I used an alcohol-based marker, and honestly, I don't remember which one. I'm not sure if it's one of the more bargain-friendly ones that I have, but it yellowed when I put water on it, and it didn't yellow before. So that kind of caught me off guard. What other things I could say? I really enjoyed, for the most part, I enjoyed the swatching process of these pencils. I can't wait to work with them, and hopefully when my no-buy is over, I could add those 4 to 5. I'm thinking the maximum colors I'm going to add is 6, but for right now I'm thinking those 4 to 5 colors I want to add to this set. I maybe not add the blue because I've already have like 5 blues, because the periwinkle is a blue, it's not a violet. So yeah, and I do have enough space to the bottom to add at least 6 colors more onto this set. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I will join you now in the end piece and talk a bit more about these pencils. Okay? Okay. I am sure, focus for me, thank you. I am sure that I would have given you my thoughts on these during the swatching, but I do want to highlight a few things here. First, the pencils. Let me grab my caliper. Let me bring you back in a bit. Okay, so there's something strange that I noticed with these pencils. A few of them, look at how they are. They're barrels, they are hexagonal shape. And you see how the numbers are here? They all start with the first numbers, 3510, and then they have their own individual numbers in it. They're the same size, the same length and width, the same everything. It's just how the numbers are printed. Like for instance, the majority of them, and I'm thinking the ones that come mostly in the sets are like this, comes with the, come on, focus, thank you, on the 62, it's not focusing, on the 62 number, the color number, or the pencil product number of this pencil here. Today's kind of windy. Okay, but here, this one that only had the 3510 here has his individualized product number here. And it also have here, come on, focus for me, I'm trying to show something important, thank you. You also have here the name of the pencil, light blue, well, it has it in German, I believe, and in English. It has a light fast information. On this same side, focus, it has the name of the pencil for this one here that has both numbers together. However, it has its light fast information and its barcoding here, whereas this one has its barcoding on the other side. It's just something I noticed with these pencils, and it was with the 4 pencils that I bought over counter this phenomenon was with. So I'm not sure if the box set had in older numbers while the over-the-counter set were newer pencils. And I'm going to use my caliper, and I just want to measure the tip of the pencil here, and the pencil looks to be 4 millimeters in length, as you can see there. And let me now measure the barrel of the pencil, and it's amazing, thankfully it's hexagonal, and the barrel of the pencil seemed to be a nice 6.5, 7 millimeters in length. And this is for this one here that comes with this number in, and the one that comes with the weird number in, the barrel of the pencil seemed to be the same 4 millimeters in width, sorry, and the hexagon is a beautiful 6.5 millimeters in width. As you can see, it is about 6.5 millimeters in width. So they measure the same, but the way they display their numbers is a bit different. Okay, so some of the thing I want to show you here is this on the white. As you can see, look at that. That yellow staining happened when I put water on this paper. And this is from the ink of the marker. And there's buckling of this paper, major buckling of this paper. But this is a cellulose paper and it's 90-pound GSM, so that's why I used it, because I like to use different papers when I'm doing testing of products. The other thing I want to show you is my water. This is something that I really want to highlight. Let me bring you guys out. Yeah, look how clean that water is. Usually when I am swatching pencils, the water is a bit cloudy, but this water is very, very clean. And yes, this is my dirty cup. I have two, I use two, and what I did for my water is, for my dirty cup, is that I have this makeup brush cleaner. It's a makeup brush cleaner. Let me guys show you something. Okay, so the pink stuff here is actually this stuff here. It's a makeup brush cleaner. So you put your hands in here and then you clean your brush. Okay, so I took half of this part here and this part, put it in a circular form, cut it circularly, and I glued it to the bottom of this jar here. So yeah, the stuff is actually glued to the bottom of this jar. So that's what I did. It kind of represents the same thing that brush cleaner container that they did, but I just use makeup brush cleaner instead, and it's a bit cheaper, guys, than that, because I think that container costs like $30 US, which is like $60 Belize, and this cost me like what, $6 Belize, and I got a pack of 2. So yeah, which is a really good deal. But that's what I wanted to highlight with you, how the water looked. It's like a tad cloudy, but not as cloudy as when I swatch other watercolor pencils, and how the ink for the marker that I use kind of spread. Guys, I will see you in part 2 of this video. So please remember that this video will take a couple weeks to do. I will see you in part 2, and so it's the same video, so let me stop my blabbering and let you guys get to that part 2. Hi friends, welcome back to part 2 of these Museum Aquarelle review, and today we are doing our painting session. Now, I have worked with the summed. What I did in part 1 was like, what, 4 weeks ago? I did the unboxing, the swatching, talked about my initial thoughts and impression of these Museum Aquarelles. Now that I've worked with them some, I've worked with it on resurfaced, hot press, 100% cotton, and today we are working with it on cold press cellulose. So I think what I want to do is, being that my walkthrough for August is going to be kind of small, I'm going to do a short walkthrough and then I'm going to get into the color session. Okay, first I did work with it first on cold press cellulose paper, and this is in my, you have seen this book, guys. You have seen this book many times in videos, and here we are. I did this dragon. It was originally a prompt of a boy and playing with fire, so I thought, I think this was the piece that started it all with my fascination with drawing dragons for this year's August, and not necessarily to draw, like I said, there wasn't necessarily a theme to it. I just wanted to draw dragons, and I used the Museum Aquarelle here. The one part of this palette that seems to limit me a bit or hesitate me a bit is the fact that I don't have a bright green, and I'm realizing that bright green is something that I basically use a lot, And here it is. This is the Caran Neo Color 2s. So I just wanted to put the two together and see how this worked out. Now this is the piece that we're going to be doing today for this color session. We'll be doing this dragon here and comparing it to the Caran Luminance. This was color only with the Caran Luminance. Now you would have seen these when I worked with it on hot press. My little sad little chibi dragon here. And also here is another little one. Another little chibi dragon. And this is Stonehenge Legion cold press, and Stonehenge Legion does have 100% cotton paper. And another little chibi dragon. So I worked with it on these, and for my hot press paper I used this, which is the Fluid 100 cellulose hot press paper. I think we already did this as well. So this is the Faber-Castell Albert Durr along with the Faber-Castell Perlichromos color pencils, a mixed media piece with this. And here we did this with the Caran Museum Aquarelle and the Caran Luminance mixed media piece. And lastly, I want to add that after working with it on those three surfaces, I think the surfaces that I struggled with the most was actually this one, because I didn't struggle with it on the hot press paper or the Stonehenge Legion. I really didn't. You know, it was a dream to work with it on this, and you saw how I worked with it on this. It was actually really nice. But when I did this one here, I kind of struggle a bit on this paper. I think this paper started to buckle with me a bit, so it made me working on this a bit challenging. But it was the first time I was working with it, so I'm hoping that I took some cues and I took some notes, and so when I do this dragon, I will not struggle as much. Now that you know what I'm doing, let me quit my blabbering and get into this coloring. Okay, let's get this started. I first started off with yellow green, and this is the thing that I'm struggling with when it comes to this palette. I don't have a bright green in this palette, and I really struggle with it because I have a bright green in the Luminance palette. I think it's the emerald green, but this palette did not come with a bright green, so I basically struggled with it. What I did is I used the yellow green and then I went over it with light blue, hopefully trying to produce a bright green. It looked amazing at this point, but when I went to pull out that watercolor effect, I realized how much duller the color was compared to what is on my right. Here I'm using the golden yellow, and I basically wanted the back piece to look like it's in a shadow. The brush that I used, well, the main brush that I used was that Milan 311 brush. It's synthetic. I did use softer brushes with these, but I found out that those softer brushes did not pull the amount of color that I wanted out. It pulled color out, don't get me wrong, but not the amount that I want out. And so these Milan 311 was perfect for this, and that's why I used them. And as you can see, I am using now the yellow green to try to do for the wing. I realized at this point that I wasn't going to get an exact color for color comparison, so I decided not to go for that and just try to color the dragon as best as I could to the one that was on the right. I really like how the far legs came out. It came out exactly how I want them to come out. Here I'm using ultramarine blue along with lemon yellow to try to produce that dark green effect. I really don't have a bright green in this set, guys, and that is what is hurting me right now. For the spikes, I used the lemon yellow like I did on the Luminance, I realized the sets doesn't come with a color for color comparison, and the luminance doesn't come like the Museum Aquarelle, because the Museum Aquarelle has marine and landscape. I have the landscape, while the luminance just have their assorted 20 color set, which is a bit different than how the Museum Aquarelle is presented. And this is what I'm telling you about when I pull color out. You see how dull that color is when compared to the one that is on the right. It's really dull, and I'm almost tempted to go back over it again to put a second layer of colors over it again, because I didn't like the dullness of the color, but I really wanted to show you guys what effect this had. You see me now using my drying tool to kind of dry it off, because I really wanted this to finish today, guys. I'm using the sepia 10% for the horns. I am almost done with this piece, guys. This has been a very interesting and learning experience. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the wrap up. I'm just going to use the last few seconds here for you guys just to kind of enjoy the painting. Okay guys, my final thoughts. The palette. The weakness of my palette is the fact that I don't have a bright green. I thought I can do without it because I have like 4 greens, but I might have to bite the bullet and get a bright green for this palette if I want to continue using this, because that I think is one of the weaknesses of this palette. I don't have a bright green. Do I have a true blue? I have an ultramarine blue, I have cobalt blue genuine, but I don't have a bright green in this palette. And whenever I go to paint the dragons, that's what is hurting me. I even did the swatch in here for it, as you can see, and there is no bright green. This is an emerald green, so I'm thinking I might want to invest in this color when it comes to the Museum Aquarelle. But all in all, it was fun. The other thing I didn't enjoy is how quickly the leads eat down. You know the colors that I use because I had to sharpen them, and the ones that I'm trying to keep the points for, look how small my white is. So yeah, the leads point eat down rather quickly for these, but it was fun. It was really fun. It didn't hinder me at all. I didn't feel restricted by these pencils, and when I say it is a good session, that's what I mean. It didn't hinder me. I don't feel restricted by them. I can use them. Just those bit of concerns that I have. And one of the things that caught me off guard is how translucent they are, even when compared to the Albert Durr and the Neocolor 2s. The Neocolor 2s is way more cloudier than the Albert Durr, and the Albert Durr is way more cloudier than the Museum Aquarelle. So that's one of the things that caught me off guard about these Museum Aquarelle, that they're very translucent colored pencils, watercolor pencils, that is. But guys, let me know in the comments below, have you tried these watercolor pencils before? What was your experience like? Did you feel limited by your palette like I did? Let me know all those beautiful goodness in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and please stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.